The African sun beat down on the rocks, turning the canyon cliffs into walls of shimmering heat. The land was vast and raw, stretching endlessly in golden hues of dust, stone, and thornbush. Somewhere in this rugged wilderness, fate had set the stage for an encounter that would test the fragile boundary between fear and trust, between predator and protector. Ethan Hayes, a seasoned ranger in his mid-30s, had spent most of his adult life in these lands. His days were filled with long patrols, scanning the horizon for signs of poachers, monitoring the wildlife, and repairing the fragile balance between people and the great predators of the savanna. Over the years, he had seen many things: the majesty of elephants crossing a river at dawn, the brutal silence of a cheetah's chase, and the sorrow of carcasses left behind by snares. But nothing had prepared him for what he found that day. He had been tracking a pride of lions that roamed near the cliffs, an unusually small pride, just 2 females and a dominant male. The lion was a magnificent creature, broad-chested and heavy with the authority of his mane, the very image of nature's power. Ethan had seen him from a distance many times, but never close. That morning, however, the air had carried a different energy. From across the ridge came the unmistakable sound of distress, the deep, resonant roars of a lion. But there was something wrong. These were not the thundering calls of dominance or territory. They were ragged, broken by gasps, filled with desperation. Ethan's heart quickened as he sprinted toward the sound, boots kicking up clouds of dust. When he reached the edge of the canyon, he froze. The lion was dangling off the cliff. Its massive body swung against the vertical rock face, claws scraping futilely against the stone. Somehow, in a reckless pursuit or misstep, the king of the savanna had found himself at the mercy of gravity. His front paws clung to the ledge, muscles trembling with effort, while his hind legs dangled uselessly in open air. The drop beneath him was sheer, hundreds of feet into a rocky abyss. For a moment, Ethan could only stare. The lion's amber eyes flashed up toward him, wild with panic. Saliva dripped from the beast's jaws as it roared, the sound reverberating off the canyon walls. It was raw power, wrapped in fear. Every instinct screamed at Ethan to back away. To leave the creature to its fate. After all, it was a lion, apex predator, capable of ending a man's life in seconds. No one would blame him for watching from a distance, reporting it later, letting nature take its course. But something deeper rooted Ethan in place. He saw not just the lion, but the fragility in its struggle. For all its strength, for all its dominance, the great beast was trapped, helpless. And he knew, in that moment, that he could not turn away. His hands shook as he fumbled for the coil of rope strapped to his pack. He always carried it, sometimes for climbing, sometimes for rescues. Never, until this moment, had he imagined it would be used to save a lion. He lay flat on the rock, inching forward until his chest hung over the ledge. The lion let out another roar, its paw slipping for a terrifying heartbeat before catching again. Ethan's pulse thundered in his ears. "Easy, easy, boy," he whispered, as if the lion could understand. His voice was low, steady, meant more for himself than the animal. He looped the rope quickly, his fingers moving by instinct. Then, with painstaking care, he tossed one end toward the lion, hoping it would catch. The rope slid across the lion's mane and shoulder. The beast thrashed, snapping its jaws at the strange thing brushing against it, but its strength was fading. Ethan tried again, guiding the rope around the lion's torso, just behind its front legs. His arms strained as he pulled it tight, the coarse fibers digging into his palms. The lion roared again, a deep, guttural sound, but it no longer had the energy to fight. Its sides heaved with exhaustion, its massive chest rising and falling in ragged rhythm. Slowly, unbelievably, the animal seemed to allow the rope's embrace. "Hold on. Just hold on," Ethan muttered through clenched teeth. He dug his boots against the stone, bracing himself, and began to pull. The weight was immense. Every muscle in his body screamed as he leaned back, straining with the rope. Inch by inch, the lion's body shifted upward. Its claws scraped furrows into the rock, finding purchase with each desperate effort. The rope bit into Ethan's shoulders. Sweat stung his eyes. His arms shook violently, his breath coming in ragged gasps. But he did not stop. He could not stop. And then, with a final surge, the lion's front legs cleared the ledge. The beast collapsed onto the rock beside him in a shuddering heap, its mane matted with dust, its body trembling with fatigue. Ethan scrambled back, heart hammering, rope still clutched in his hands. He expected the lion to turn on him, to lash out in fury at the strange human who had bound it, dragged it, interfered with its struggle. Instead, the lion lay still. Its golden eyes locked on Ethan, unblinking, unreadable. For a long, breathless moment, man and beast simply stared at one another. Ethan's chest rose and fell, his breath loud in the silence. The lion's sides heaved, nostrils flaring as it drew in great gulps of air. Slowly, it lifted its head. Its lips parted, not in a snarl, but in something closer to a sigh. Then, with a low rumble that was neither threat nor dominance, the lion turned. It rose shakily to its feet, the rope falling away from its body, and padded a few steps toward the safety of the plain. At the edge of the grass, it paused. Turned. And looked back. That single glance rooted itself in Ethan's soul. It was not gratitude in the human sense, but something older, something deeper. A recognition. A memory etched into spirit. And then the lion disappeared into the wild. The story of the rescue spread quickly among the rangers. Some shook their heads in disbelief, saying Ethan had been reckless, that he had risked his life for nothing. Others spoke in hushed tones, convinced that he had been part of something extraordinary, an unspoken pact between man and beast. But Ethan never sought glory. He never told the tale with flourish or exaggeration. When asked, he would simply shrug and say, "I couldn't just watch him fall." At night, when the savannah quieted and the stars spread wide across the sky, he sometimes heard a distant roar echoing through the canyons. And though he could never be sure, he liked to imagine it was the same lion, alive and strong, his voice carrying through the darkness. A reminder that, once on the edge of the world, predator and protector had shared a moment of trust. A moment neither would ever forget. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe to support the channel. See you in the next episodes.